the price cap was expected to be much lower than we now know that it is going to be from October.
Hannah, thanks very much. We should say we have asked to speak to a member of the government. We were told no one would be available for this programme. We are going to, in a moment, talk to the Shadow Chancellor, Rachel Reeves. But just to recap what's happened, the energy price cap. So this is the price cap per unit, that for energy used, that has risen, and it does mean now that the average household bill will be £3,549 a year, which compares to £1,971 a year, and that kicks in from the 1st of October.
Yeah, what this represents in real terms, and it's very interesting, Hannah speaking directly to people who are trying to work out how they can handle these rises, what that equates to for most households will be a rise in costs in bills of something like 80%. The rise from now, and October the 1st is the date that these figures kick in. And so this morning, although these were expected, these numbers, it is a significant day in as much as this is what it will be come October the 1st.
The chief executive of OfGem, which is the regulator, has urged the incoming Prime Minister to act further to tackle the impact of price rises as he's announced this price cap. And there are going to be new concerns about how companies are going to react as well. And they're looking at how suppliers are going to be setting their direct debits as well. Let's talk now to the Shadow Chancellor, Rachel Reeves. Rachel Reeves, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Your reaction?
Well, I just heard you speak to Helen and Claire on your programme about the sorts of concerns that they have, and those are shared by people right across the country who are worried sick about what is happening. The news we've heard in the last few minutes about these astronomical increases in prices is striking fear into the hearts of families right across the country. And that is why Labour are saying the government must act. They must freeze gas and electricity prices through the winter. They should pay for that with an extension of the windfall tax on the oil and gas companies who are making huge profits, and use that money to keep bills as low as possible for everybody else. That is the right and fair thing to do. That is what Labour would do, and that is what the government must now press on and do. The fact that no government minister is available to come on your programme today is just appalling. Ministers are drawing salaries to run the country, and yet they are not here. They're not here to give assurances. They're not here to set out what they're going to do at a time of huge anxiety and concern for people. That is a dereliction of duty, and it is frankly appalling.
And I must say, the Chancellor for the Exchequer, Nadeem Zahawi, has issued a statement in response to the price cap going up, saying that I'm working flat out to develop options for further support. This will mean the incoming Prime Minister can hit the ground running and deliver support to those who need it most as soon as possible.
Well, as soon as possible. The announcement has happened today about what is happening to gas and electricity prices. £3,549. The two people who want to be the next leader of the Conservative Prime Minister have been going around the country for the last few weeks, setting out their policies on almost everything, apart from the biggest issue facing our country right now, which is these astronomical increases in gas and electricity prices, on which they've got almost nothing to say. Now, Labour have set out a fully funded and fully costed plan that would see prices frozen for 6 months, using, as I say, the money that North Sea oil and gas companies are making to pay for that price freeze. That is the sort of scale of action that is needed now to help people right across the income spectrum, because, of course, people on the lowest incomes are affected the most. But when I speak to charities like Leeds Money Buddies in my own constituency, or look at the University of York analysis that show that 2 in 3 families now could be plunged into fuel poverty, we do need across-the-board support to keep these bills down.
I understand the message. Can we just look at the numbers that you've gone through? You say this is a fully funded plan, and it would save the typical family £1,000. Well, already, if we look at the average price of energy for a family, the cap has gone from £1,971 to nearly £3,600. £1,000, again, isn't going to touch the sides, is it?
This is over 6 months. It would mean that nobody would see an increase in their gas and electricity prices during the course of the autumn. From October to April, no one would see an increase in their bills. And indeed, if you're on a prepayment meter, we would be providing additional support of £300 because that is the premium that people currently pay if they use prepayment meters. And we know that those 4 million people on prepayment meters are on some of the lowest incomes. So under Labour's package of measures, nobody would see an increase in their gas and electricity prices this autumn and this winter. And if you're on a prepayment meter, you would see the price fall.
The problem with that, though, is that there is higher energy consumption in the winter. And the charity Full Fat, and I know you said you've worked with various organisations to cost this your way, but the charity Full Fat has said that your proposals fall £5 billion short. The Institute for Fiscal Studies puts your shortfall at £8 billion because of the impact of higher prices in the winter.
Well, Full Fat, last time they fact-checked Labour analysis, they had to withdraw their statement a couple of days later. So I would take that with a pinch of salt.
Institute for Fiscal Studies?
Our package is worth £29 billion, and we would pay for that in 3 ways. Let me set that out. First of all, an increase in the windfall tax, backdating the windfall tax on oil and gas companies to January this year, and getting rid of the investment allowances that would see around £4 billion paid back to oil and gas companies to support investment. That would raise £8 billion. We would repurpose the money the government has already announced, £14 billion, to fund the price cap. And thirdly, our package of measures would directly reduce inflation because of the contribution that energy prices make to inflation. And as a result, the debt interest paid on government debt would be reduced by around £7 billion during these winter months.
It's a temporary relief on inflation, though, isn't it? Because although you have a cap for 6 months, the prices are rising. So as soon as that cap leaves, then inflation is fuelled again. It's just delaying the fuelling of inflation.
Well, this is a 6-month package and it is fully costed over those 6 months. Now, look, when we get to April next year, we don't know where energy prices are going to be. That's why we came up with a 6-month package, because there is now pretty certainty about where energy prices are going to be over the next 6 months. When we get to April, of course, we will look again at where energy prices are. I think Labour have shown very clearly whose side we are on, the side of ordinary families and pensioners struggling with their bills, whereas the Conservative Party have resisted at every stage a windfall tax and are resisting now extending that windfall tax to give real relief to families. So, look, I'm confident about the numbers that we've put out, but most of all, I'm confident that the package that I've set out would make an immediate difference to families and pensioners across the country who are worried sick about what they hear this morning and want to know what policymakers are going to do. Labour have set out our plans. The government must now urgently come forward with theirs.
Rachel Reeves, Shadow Chancellor, thank you very much for your time with us.
Thank you.